Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments, and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit today about using or putting a decorative edge on a circle or cutting a border into a circle. So if you're familiar with our Creative Memories border maker system, we can cut a decorative border using this paper holder and this punch holder and make a number of really cute decorative designs in a straight line, which are really cool. But it is also really cool to make them in a circle, such as something like this. All right, and so this is a design that I punched using one of our older border maker cartridges. And obviously I punched it in a circle, which is, it's kind of hard to see because I have it sitting on a white piece of paper, but to make it a little easier since my mat is green, I went ahead and did that just to make it show up a little bit better. I can show you how to do this if you have our custom cutting system. So let me jump right to it. If you're familiar with our border maker cartridges, you know that there are essentially two different types of cartridges. There's there's a border that is completely separates from your paper, and then there are punches, border maker punches, that when they are punched they stay connected to the edge of your paper. So there are two different kinds. I'm going to show you how to cut around a circle using both different kinds of punches. So these are punches that are currently in our line. If you're familiar with the system, you know that when the punches are sold out, they are gone, and you no longer can get them. But these currently, as of right this moment, are available. This is the Bridge border maker cartridge, which if I turn this over, it might be easier for you to see what it does. It's very cool in a circle, and kind of resembles a little bit of an edge of a spider web, so it'd be really cool at Halloween. This one is what we call Starry, and you can see it punches out stars. If I turn it over, I can show you, and it also creates kind of a jagged or varied edge on it. All right, so both of these cartridges are connected. So they just put a decorative design around the outside edge of your paper. The other three that I have sitting here that we're going to use today as examples, these actually cut away from your paper and they completely separate. So this is the new jammy or onesie, but I think they're calling it the jammy punch. And it also creates super cute little t-shirts if you're not doing a baby page. You can just cut the little bottom off and make these into t-shirts, which are super cute. And they do completely separate from the page. And these are apples. This is the apple cartridge. It's been around for a little while, so if you really like this one and you don't have it yet, I would jump on that because it will probably be gone shortly. And then this one is the rope cartridge, which would be great if you do boating or activities with scouts or other things where you're tying stuff off. Maybe you have a husband in construction or something like that. Anyway, this would be really cool to put an edge around any kind of water activity, like if you go sailing or anyway, just some ideas. All right, but this one also does completely separate. So let me show you how this works. We're going to use today, and you don't have to use these, but I'm going to use these. We're going to use the Creative Memories Microtip Scissors. These have a really fine point on them, and they work great for trimming. And so I'm just going to set those aside here. And we're also going to use the border maker housing. This is the portion of the border maker that actually does the punching. We are not going to use the paper holder because we are punching in a circle today, not in a straight line. So we're only going to need this. And we're going to use the jumbo circle from the custom cutting system. And we're going to cut around the outer edge of this system. I'm sorry, give me just a second here. Where's my blade? There it is. Okay, so we're going to use the red blade, and I have found from experience that the red blade usually works the best for this type of a process. But depending on the punch you're trying to use, you may want to vary that and use a different, the green or the blue blade. But so sometimes you do have to experiment just a little. But I have found that pretty consistently the red blade on the outer edge works the best for most of our punches. All right, so we're going to move that over here and set that aside. All right, so we have our rather large circle, and we're going to go around the outside and punch. And I'm going to punch several different varieties here so you can see what they look like. And then I can show you what some of them look like when they're completed. All right, so here we're going to start with the bridge punch and show you what that one looks like. You are going to need to be able to turn it upside down and squeeze from the bottom to do your punches, because you're going to need to be able to see inside here to make sure that you're punching in the right place. Take your circle and insert it like you would if you were going to punch in your straight paper holder, but you're going to go ahead and put the paper in. You'll notice that there is a little bit of a lip where the paper can either go to so it's flush against this back wall, or it can actually go a little bit further. And I would suggest to you that you go ahead and push the paper just a little bit further. You'll notice there's a slight gap in there where you can, it does disappear just slightly. And then you're going to punch. The initial punch is actually not the scary one because you're not having to match anything up. So there's our first punch. Okay, and you might have these little long stringy things, but that's okay. All right, so we've got that one. Now we're going to put the paper back in again. Make sure that it goes into that kind of voided space at the top. And we're going to line this up in such a way that it meets the voided space on this side of the punch. So this is what it looks like on the far side of the punch. That piece on the other end is right in there. Can you see that? Let me tip it so you can see that. So you can see that it's overlapping just slightly where I'm going to punch and where I punched before. All right. You want it to overlap just slightly when you have a connected pattern that you're doing, so that it's got some fluidity to it. All right. Don't worry about this outside stuff. We're going to trim that off later. Okay. So we're going to go back in again. Make sure your edge is up here in between, just beyond that back wall. Line up your voided areas so that you have just a tiny bit of it showing. All right. And punch. All right, and then you'll notice that you'll keep having these little cones come off. We're going to go ahead and trim those when we are all done. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep going around here just a little bit so that you can see what it looks like. And don't worry if you're a little bit slow at first when you're trying to learn how to do this. It does take a little bit of practice, And even when you've had practice, sometimes you get anxious or you're in a hurry and it just doesn't quite connect the way you wanted it to. But those are the spots that you put your pictures over and nobody ever knows, right? So no worries. All right. So I'm only going to do about a half a circle in this one, and then I'm going to show you the other punch and what it looks like. So here we have our bridge punch. Now I'm going to use my micro scissors, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to just trim off those cones, connecting cones. So to actually make a very cute sun, also if you were doing like a big sun with multiple different colors maybe, or anyway. So this is our bridge cartridge and how it would look in the circle. If you can imagine that going all the way around. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the Starry cartridge and show you what that one looks like. Okay, so this one, we're again going to put our paper in and push it all the way to that void in the back. And then just try to center it the best that you can. This one creates a lot of confetti because of all of those stars. And it's a little bit different when you line it up as well. So that's why I wanted to show you. So you're going to make sure that it's as centered as possible. Then you're also going to make sure that this last star, see how on this edge it's only partially there. That upper star is only half there. The other half is on this side of the punch. So you're making the other half of that star the next time that you punch the border. So it's going to be a little bit wonky. That's okay. Stars are a little wonky, right? They're not all super perfect. Exactly 5 points if you know your galaxy very well. I'm not exactly, an astronomer, but I did take a class in college once upon a blue moon. All right. We're going to keep going with this one. Be careful when you're lining it up because these lower stars, when you're lining it up, are going to touch just slightly. They shouldn't overlap though too much. So you do have to have somewhat strong fingers to do this, unless you're punching on a thinner piece of paper. I'm using cardstock, so it is kind of a little bit tougher to use. And you might be wondering, so I get all the way around and my design maybe doesn't match up. I'm going to show you that here in just a second. Excuse me while I collect stars and get rid of those. Real quick, we're going to trim this up so you can see what you might do with it. Would be really cute to do this on a page, maybe that you were displaying pictures of the night sky or the eclipse that happened, not too long ago, if you have photos of that. Or maybe if you're out on a starry night stargazing with a sweetheart or something like that. This would be really cute to do. If you do this maybe in a dark color, I have also used this punch done in black, and then I put yellow behind all these stars, and it works really, really nicely and looks really cute. All right, so there's that. Let me show you also the disconnected one. Excuse me, and then I will show you what some other patterns look like when they are cut. So you can see what happens when maybe it doesn't quite match up, which happens occasionally. That's why I said you have to kind of practice and through trial and error, see what's going to work best. But even on your pieces that don't quite go exactly perfect, it's okay, because you can just cover them up with a picture or an embellishment and, you know, move on. You don't need to stress about it. So here we go. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and start with this cute little jammy punch because I just think it's darling. And those of you with little people in your life, grandbabies or children or people that you babysit or whatever, this would be perfect. Again, the paper goes all the way and just beyond this straight back of the housing to do your punch. Now, when you line this one up, you're going to line it up slightly differently. So I'm going to show you, because when you're lining up a punch that's going to separate from your page, you have to line it up so that it connects, so that the punch that is, in this case, the arm of the onesie, as you can see over here on this side, that arm has to connect to the next arm. So you want to make sure when you go to put it in, you can see it right here, that you have paper underneath where this arm is connecting, right? And in this particular instance, you want to watch this corner also of the the outfit of the cut, because you don't want it to get lost and be off the paper. Just super easy to do in this particular one. I got a little close in that one. A little bit too close. So let's see. All right. This one's a little bit tricky because when you reach a certain point, you have to make it curve just a little bit more. And so now my wedge is just a little bit deeper, but that's okay. That's what those Microtip scissors are for. So you can go back and fix it. Lining it up, making sure my corner is covered. All right, I'm going to just stop there actually on this one so that I can show you what to do. So you've got your sleeves that are matching. You just want to make sure your design is smooth. So if you just make those sleeves kind of blend into each other, then it doesn't really matter where your punch comes together as long as they kind of blend. Now, see, it's harder to tell where that was along this edge, although I do have this little pointy guy right here. So I want to get rid of him. That's where the Microtip scissors come in very handy. And this I want to make just a little smoother. Now, in addition, this cute little jammy border can also turn into something more for a younger kid or for your teenager, simply by coming in here with your scissors and taking the bottom part off and making it a t-shirt instead of pajamas. See how I did that? So then now you have almost like laundry hanging on the line, which is kind of cool. And then the rest of these are the pajamas, or the onesie for the baby. Okay, let's try something different. Let's do the apples. All right, and you'll notice on the apple punch, you have a portion of an apple that completes the other apple on the other side. So that's what that's our goal for making this fluid all the way around the circle, is being able to punch this so that those apples meet. So again, the best way to do that is to make sure that your open spot, or that your design is meeting. So that open spot is right here where my apple starts and stops. So then I create my own apple. Now, when you use this apple punch to go around a circle, I have noticed that the apples where your design is overlapping sometimes do get a little misshapen. So if you're careful, it doesn't happen as much. But if you are in a hurry, like I said before, then occasionally you end up with a wonky apple that looks like someone sat on it. It's just kind of funny. But you know, you can cover those up. You can go in with your scissors and shape them a little differently if you want to. Whatever makes you happy, because it's your page, right? So you can fix it. Okay, so like here, to get that cone off, I have to trim it and make this match as much as I can. So a pair of sharp scissors. These scissors are super sharp and very pointy. They work pretty well. Occasionally I have issues where the point doesn't like to come together and make a clean cut, which was a little frustrating, but for the most part, they work pretty well. So here is what our apple border tends to look like. I have a complete circle one that I'll show you in just a second. And then let me show you again another one more that is a separate design. This is the rope design. And the rope design, again, go all the way into the underneath portion of your punch housing. Then when you put it together, you're going to make this point up here, the voided point here, be as close to the punch out area as possible. And then you can clean it up when you go back a little bit later. I'm going to go ahead and cut the center out of this so we don't have as much to deal with here. And go ahead and clean up my rope. rope design. All right. So you can see how the rope would be really cute for a nautical themed page to go all the way around, or even just a portion of your circle. Now, let me show you some completed designs so you can see maybe what some older punches look like when they are all punched together, just to give you some ideas. Again, here is the leaf chain that that I had done. You'll notice over here is where I came together. Now it didn't quite meet, so I just got creative and added to the vine that went around. But if I hadn't pointed that out, you wouldn't necessarily see it right away. And if I had that covered with a photo, you wouldn't notice it at all. And the rest of it looks perfect, which is the goal, right? Definitely the goal. Here's a smaller circle that's done with the apple punch, and it's done in green. So let me show it to you on the white so you can see it a little bit better. You can use any circle. It's just how it comes together and meets is the question. Sometimes they work out better than others. Like this one, this is done with our leaf, a special punch that is specifically designed to cut a perfect circle, design around a perfect circle for a 6-inch square. We do have those punches available as well on the website. Let's see, this one is frost. So if you have that punch, it works out beautifully to punch around a circle. This one is the rose punch, and it also is very pretty, done in a circle. It'd be really nice on in a wedding album, or for someone who does gardening, or maybe a special romantic occasion. Here's our emerald gemstone, the gemstone punch. This one works out really, really well and was nearly perfect. You can see right here, I had to get a little bit creative to get it to come together at the end, but it overall worked pretty well. Here's the apple punch in the full circle. This one is done with the ornament punch. And I'm trying to see where I came together on that one. I think it's right here, because I have a slightly irregular cut right there. And this one is done with the clouds, which I really love. It's one of my favorite border makers that we have. So just some other ideas and examples of things that you can do with this punch, and with punching around a circle with using our border maker system. And here's one of the samples that we did before today that you saw me punch. And let me grab this one. Just did, so you can see it again as well. All right, thanks so much. I hope you're able to use this. I hope that you're using and enjoying the border maker system that Creative Memories has put together. It really is one of my all-time favorite tools, aside from my 12-inch trimmer. I love it to pieces. So I hope that you enjoy it too. All right, happy creating.